שלומי. כן, אני מביא אותו לכאן. שלומי. ערב טוב. איך אתה? הרבה יותר טוב מאתמול? פחות טוב ממחר?
Aviad, can you mute? Oh, great. You just did.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. Today we will be speaking in English. Welcome and thank you for joining us for this special session in our speaker series at the Middle East Center in cooperation with the Intergroup. Tonight, we're honored to host a truly unique voice, Mr. Noor Dahri. Noor is a British Pakistani Muslim, a counter-terrorism specialist, and the founder of the ITCT, Islamic Theology of Counter-Terrorism. He's a bold and original thinker who has taken courageous positions in the face of extremism, often challenging both Islamist ideology and Western misconceptions. This evening, Noor will speak directly to an Israeli audience on deeply sensitive and timely issues, from the classical roots of Islamic warfare versus Islamist warfare to the dynamics of incitement in mosques, and the profound question, is a pro-Israeli Islam possible? Of course, since we have gathered here in this timing, we will also be discussing, at least to some extent, the India versus Pakistan war. This lecture will be held in English and streamed live on YouTube. I'm Tom Wegner, and I'll be moderating tonight's session. So let's begin. Noor, please tell us how you became a Zionist Muslim.
Thank you very much for having me in, and I really appreciate it for all watchers and listeners and a live audience. Tom, it was very challenging to be a Zionist from jihadist, from Islamist Zionist, because obviously being Islamist is not a big thing in Muslim culture. Islamism nurture in our society, unfortunately. We born and bred with this type of Islam in our country. And so being Islamist, we don't consider ourselves Islam, we consider ourselves as Muslim, because majority of we people, we do not classify what is the difference between Islam and Islamism. We cannot be able to distinguish Islamist ideology and the Muslim ideology, actually, because what we have learned, taught in schools, in madrasas, in Arabic, in Hebrew called madrash, and in obviously in the surrounding environment, atmosphere. So jihadization is a core concept rooted in our religion, actually. So to come out from this core is a big challenging. It's not easy, because you are going to fight. You are declaring war against your culture, against your religious tradition, against your society, and against your entire Muslim world, as well as you are standing opposite the Ummah, the Muslim community all around the world. So it was very challenging. However, it need before you need a courage, it need a very sufficient, significant knowledge about that. You cannot just, wake up in the morning and you say you are Zionist, or you can speak with make a few friends with the Jewish people, and you can call yourself a Zionist. It's not. This is a big mental ideological challenge, and ideological is a transformation, swift transformation from one ideology into another ideology. I spent entire my life, obviously, being born and bred in Pakistan, being non-religious person to the religious person, and from a common religious person to Islamist, and from Islamist to Marxist, and from Marxist to Muslim, and now obviously as a Muslim Zionist. These are the so many phases of life I went through. These are the, in these phases of my life, and obviously each phase was challenging. Not only personally, but obviously is in which affect in our surrounding people surrounding me. So actually, it was a very big step, very biggest, and I had to take it because someone has to come forward. Someone has to come forward to declare this one, because you have seen many supporters, Israeli supporters, Muslim supporters, even a few, but there are people that who support Israel from different part of the world, but they are very hesitant to call themselves as Zionists openly. They go all around the world in conferences, in events. They support Israel. They support Israel's right to exit, but directly calling themselves as Zionists, which I understand, they have to use wisdom. Okay, but indeed it need a big courage, is because once you are openly declaring yourself as a Zionist, you are actually declared war against Islamism, and it's very hard. It's very hard because entire Muslim community is going to be, after that, it's going to be disassociated from you, isolate your life completely. Even if you can't attend the mosque openly if they know that you are Muslim, declare yourself as a Muslim Zionist. You can't practice rituals openly, which in obligatory prayers. And it's obviously is a great challenge. It's a great challenge as a Muslim. Now, when he said how it journey was, how did he become a Zionist from your Islamist? I was Islamist even in London. I was attending, I remember, only 2 events I attended in the street of London, which were called Al-Quds Days. Okay, these Al-Quds Days, obviously, I was chanting along with these Palestinians, Free Palestine, and death to Zionists, death to Israel. And from there to become a Zionist, and completely different opposition, completely different domain. You stand and you speak with not only just ignorance, with your evidence, with facts, with knowledge. You stand with the Jewish people, you stand with the Israeli people. Obviously, this is a very lengthy road, lengthy journey. It was not easy, and it's still easy. There were so many challenges domestically and community-wise you face. Death threats and professional life, you are disturbed, your domestic personal life disturbed. It's not easy. It's a big courage. It's a big courage. But I mean, obviously, what I said, someone has to come forward to break this taboo. Otherwise, you can't you can't counter the hate which is nurtured in your religion, actually. And this I mean, admitting the problem in religious ideology in your is not wrong. You have to first admit that yes, in the anti-Semitism is, unfortunately, it was a foreign to Islam, but it nurtures now. People in Muslims, people in majority in the mosques, they are anti-Semitic, they are anti-Israel, they are anti-Zionist, and we have to accept it. We have to accept, and if you can't accept, we can't counter their narratives. So Tom is challenging. Every day is a challenging life there for people like us who stand with Israel and support Israel's right to exist and defend itself. It's really, life is challenging. It's not easy.
Can you help us look at the process or the way that you came from chanting anti-Semitic slurs in the streets of London as well to advocating for Israel? What was the first thing that started changing your perspective?
I was working as a member of the police service in London, and I came across, which I've given this interview, and so many news outlets in Israel and outside Israel that I come across with my colleague, and she was a Jewish lady, and very pro-Israel, very Eastern supporter of Israel, obviously. And we have started a discussion about geopolitics, about conflicts in the Middle East. And obviously, I said, no, yes, conflict in the Middle East is a creation of the Israeli creation of the conflict. Every conflict Israel is behind, and these Zionists are behind every conflict, specifically in the Middle East. And she was very, very calm and listening. And she said, okay, starts few learning. What do you think about Zionism? And then I couldn't even answer what I even never know what Zionism is. Some type of group, some type of cult who anti-Islam and anti this and that. And I was just thinking what answer I should give it to her. She said, can you give her details about what Zionism in your mind? What is a definition of Zionism? What's your concept about Zionism? And I honestly, I could not answer actually. And that's really frustrating me. I said, all my life, young life, I went through slogans of anti-Zionist and what we call in Urdu language, Sahuni. Arabic called the Sahun as well. So all my young life we are going through against chanting against slogans against Israel and against Sahunis, and I could not even answer what actually Sahun is, what Zionism is actually. So this conversation and on daily routine conversation. When was my shift was in the police service, and when were her shift, and we come across the same shift, and she was working in a different domain, not in a police service, but we come across in the same environment, and so we start discussion. And this discussion led me to read to understand what actually Zionism is. And she referred me, okay, if you love reading, I said, okay, I love reading since I grew up. I love reading and researching, analysis, assessing. This is a part of my life. So she said, okay, do research actually. And she was giving me some news outlets and links of news outlets and some books. She said, okay, you have read all books and one-sided. Why not you read another side as well? And then you come across in the conclusion that what actually Zionism is, what actually Israel is doing. So this is how the slowly late science. So I started reading. Then I realized, I said, no, actually Zionists are humans. Before I think, oh, they are not human, they're devil worshippers actually. But then I realized, no, they are humans, but they are misguided Jews. Do you understand? They are misguided Jews. They are different. They're completely different than the normal Jews. And who are the normal Jews? In our concept, specifically in the Britain, the good Jews are only who stand with Palestine, the Nuri Khazra. Do you understand? And we always said, oh, these are they are religious ones. They know better religion, and they are the Jews of Torah, and they are the actually people of book. But those who are Israel, no, they are not the people of books. Because they are Zionists. So we didn't even consider them as a Jewish actually. I personally never consider you people as number one. You are not human. You were not human in my mind, and you are not a Jews even. You are not even Jews in my mind. Okay, and this is not actually, unfortunately, it is very irony. This is not only my concept. This is the concept of the majority of the Muslim people who are completely unaware about Zionism. Somehow I blame them, but somehow I don't blame them. This is how they brought up in childhood. They never got enough information about what Zionism is. Media against Zionists, Israelis, states against Israelis, mosques, which I call religious entity, against Israel, and secular education against Israel. How would they get in pure and accurate information about Israel, about Zionism? Because the word Zionism, the Sehun, is a very obligatory word. We can't even say this. This is how used to hate. We can't even utter this word. And whenever we utter this word, it's a very extreme hate comes in our mind about Zionists. This is why we never even consider them humans. They are like a especially created people possess Satan. Do you understand? So then first time I realized after reading a couple of, spent a few months and readings, then I changed slightly my mind that no, the Zionists are actually human. So this was my first transformation, ideological transformation. That for once I would never consider them as human, but then I consider this, yes, they are human actually. So this was the first ideological change in my mind. Second, then slowly when because then I started, no, they are Jews, but they are not a practice. They are not a practicing Jews. Do you understand? They're not practicing Jews. They don't know about the, the real Torah and this and that. Just they slowly, and the newspaper. So first newspaper which I loved to read, there was Hartz. And I said, no, that newspaper is good. Why? Because they are condemning Israel. Most of the newspaper is a supporting of the Palestinian right to exist. Do you understand? And most of the Israeli policies are being criticized by the authors and writers, columnists in Hart's newspaper. So I said at one point, I said to Ili, the colleague Jewish, I say, I love this newspaper. And she then he said, okay, why not I can, she said, why not she can add me on Facebook, some Jewish group. I say, yeah, that's fine. It's fine. So she understood slowly that the person has changed his narrative slowly from extreme hate towards the Jews to a moderate hate against Jews. But it's still hate. But she's saying, why not you can talk to Jewish people yourself and ask questions. So this was my first conversation on Facebook with a Jewish group, with the Jewish people, okay, specifically the Israelis one. And obviously it's on and on, big debates, and I was not even challenged. I was challenging them, their even existence on the whole in the Holy Land. And they are very calm. They were very calm people. They're not violent. They're very calm people. And I was the one who sometimes, if I can't make argument, they start violent, shouting this or that. No, you can't do that. This is how because this is a common human nature. When we lose arguments, then we use violence. Okay, verbal violence or physical violence. This is a human nature actually. If you don't have enough knowledge, then you have to use a different tool to justify your dominance, influence to other people. So slowly, see a process, Tom, I make it very short. I process gone. Then I started Times of Israel. I said, no, Times of Israel is better, I think. It's give a balance of both. Palestinian as well and some Jewish as well. So it's give a little bit balance. So this process on and on. When I realized, then I was reading many books. I bought the books, many books about Israeli wars, Israel's right to exist, some Palestinian books as well, comparison, what Islam is, what Islamism is, what political Islam is. Before that, I was unaware of what political Islam is actually. Even being a member of the police force, I didn't know what political Islam is actually. Okay, so this is how the process went through with joining people, joining my Facebook, not in that much amount of the followers, but slowly Israeli Jewish are starting joining my Facebook, and we had so many discussions, this and that. One at the time when I realized I had enough knowledge. Now I'm not saying I'm a scholar of that things, and you people are living in Israel, and some of you, obviously most of you know more of the deep about Israeli society, and then outside of me, of course we have to admit the U.S. society is part of your daily life. So when I realized that I should have, and I thought before very deeply, should I support Israel? Should I not? Should I support Israel? Should I not? I was very confusion. I was in confusion between two steps to take the final decision, whether I openly support Israel or not. And when I realized that, yes, I think I should support Israel openly now. And before that, let me tell you one thing. Before that, I was very active in Islamic forums in Saudi Arabia, in Pakistan, in India. The Islamic forums, I was writing articles about Islam. I was teaching people about Islam, and all Salafis, because I'm a Salafist. My religious ideology is from Salafi, not from Sufi or Shia. Do you understand? So I'm Salafist. So we follow majority of Saudi Arabia. Okay, so Pakistani Salafis, Indian Salafists, and Saudi Salafists. We have groups and forums, actually, no groups, forums. And I was very vocal in writing, and then the people in Pakistan, India, Saudi Arabia, they know me very well. That this person is a knowledge about Islam, and he's writing this and that. People even send me lots of messages, and I can sort out their issues with the solution from the Quran and Hadith and Sunnah and this and that. So I'm not saying I'm a scholar. I was a student of religion. Still, I'm a student of religion and other domains, study domains. But I said, if I announce that Israel has a right to exist in the Holy Land, and that will be it's my isolation. Those old forums, people are consider me as a big man, religious man, that respect me. And in respect, they call me Sheikh. I'm not a Sheikh because I'm not a scholar, but they call me Sheikh because I'm ordinary Muslims. I was teaching them about Islam and this and that. And what will happen? Their hopes, my image in their mind, it will be completely shattered. People around me, family, my father, my brother, my sisters, relatives, cousins, friends, colleagues. I was thinking about everyone, because obviously I was jumping in the ocean, actually. And I knew, I had a fear that I can be drowned completely. And I might be survive. I don't know. It was a big step. And then what happened suddenly? I was still in a, mind conflict between whether I accept myself as a Muslim supporter or not. Can I accept Israel right to exist or not? Anyway, the story short, what happened then? Operation Protective Age started against Hamas in 2014. And Operation Protective Age started, and I've seen that Israelis are fighting to teeth and against Hamas. And I was studying their, war tactics. And when I've seen they are not targeting Palestinian innocent, they are targeting Hamas, and there is a protocol of IDF, the ethics of IDF, to not harm civilians. And then I said, no, man, I all my life, when I was a jihadist in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, when I was a jihadist, I was openly announced myself as a jihadist. When I came back from Afghanistan, I was walking in the street of Pakistan with gun, especially Makarov Russian gun, pistol, always with me. I was walking along with my jihadis, front and surrounding with jihadis, everything, and I was very vocal. And everyone was respecting me in Pakistan. Jihadis in Pakistan is a great honor, is great dignity. Do you understand? Oh, this person is a mujahid. He has went in Afghanistan and conducted military jihad training for fi sabilillah, for the sake of Allah's pleasure. And when I thought that I have to start announcing, because I'm the person always in my life never hidden the truth, actually. When I considered that political Islam, the jihadism is a truth, I joined jihadism. I joined Islamism vocally, openly, announce it. But when I thought that I have to accept Israel's right to defend against Hamas terrorism, and when obviously by that time I knew what is the definition of Zionism, then I said, why not declare myself a Zionist Muslim? Because nothing is wrong. I have to only declare. This is only, it's a political, ideological, is a political movement, is ideological vision concept, which you have to accept, which is openly, publicly, that Israel has right to exist in the Holy Land. Israel has right to defend itself. Israelis have right to defend themselves individually and collectively from terrorism, whether from Gaza or from whether they are living surrounding. Obviously, they have right as a human, every person have right to defend themselves. And if this is Zionism, then I have to declare. And then is on the social media. Once I still remember that day, Operation Protective Age was on the heat. Okay. And 100,000 people in Britain, Muslims, were in the street chanting against Zionism, against Israel. And all entire Arab media, obviously at that time, is the Abraham Accord didn't even exit. And the Arab media and Arabs were all were in the street. Pakistan, full of streets. And people in my religious forums where I was preaching, they were full of discussion against Israel and Zionism. And I took a very, very, very courageous step to announce myself openly that I myself declare as a Muslim Zionist, and I believe that Israel has a right to exist, and Israel has a right to defend. And that was a big blow. Well, after that, everything started crashing around me. Like, the mirror, you can leave the mirror from the hands and it's go on the floor and you can't even count their pieces. And my life started crashing around. Slowly, every single person connected with me.
I'm so sorry, Noor. You're so brave. It's a harsh story. You deserve better than that.
My brother, sister disconnected me. My relative disconnected me. I got a lot of fatwas from my forums that you sold your iman, religion. You sold your mother, which was died. My father disconnected me till he died. Never spoke to me ever. My friends in London, everyone left me. Everyone, I become completely isolated, completely alone. And I thanks to my Israelis, they supported me from all around the world, speak from Israel. And if I didn't have that support, I would have been died. But really, thank you very much. Really. What I say is a great sacrifice. And these sacrifices never ends. It's been more than 10 years. I'm still suffering. And big blow happened when October 7 happened. And after that, my pictures were surrounding in Imam's mosque, in Imam's group, in my area where I live, that this person is holding Israeli flag outside the Gaza border. And I visited Israel. And watch for this person, he's a traitor. And they shared my location. And that was a big threat, obviously. I'm a human. Obviously, I got scared, not because of me, because of my family, obviously. And thank you. I got offer from Israel that we can take you from where you lived and arrange security and accommodation in Israel as long as the war is on. I got message from Israeli American Intel Department that we can look after you, can take you from UK to America. I got messages from Israeli American army that they have arranged my accommodation in airfield in Florida, air base, and they can take me there because they don't want to lose. I got incredible messages, offers, phone call. People are calling me and they don't know. No, you don't know us. We are American establishment. Some say we are Israeli establishment. Some say we are there. We are here to support you. And I just pack up everything. Tomorrow night you're going to flying from here. We're going to take you. And I said, no, I'm not going to running away. I'm not running away. Because if I run away, I can't leave space empty for them. They will say, see, he's gone, he run away. I want to live here. And I want to face the challenge. I can't leave the space empty for them. I can't afford to leave the space. I got messages from Muslim counterterrorism experts who previously supporting Israel. And they said, no, disassociate yourself from Israelis because anytime you'll get killed. I got messages from Muslim activist, former activist, along with a Muslim activist supporting Jewish and supporting Israel. I got a message from them. They disconnect all social media and don't support Israel until war ends, because you are the number one prime time, because we all have a disconnected either social media or went silence because we don't want to pose our life in threat. I completely understand their emotion. I completely understand their feeling. Okay, and they have used wisdom to secure themselves. But my only response to them is that you never declare yourself as a Muslim Zionist. I have, and it's an honor for me, and I can't withdraw this honor. And this time is a Holocaust happened in Israel. My people, as a Zionist, every single Zionist in Israel, Jewish community, they are my brothers, my ideological brothers. And I say, my people are suffering from the ruins of the Holocaust massacre. And every person, apart from Jewish in the world, especially the Muslim community, they have left them alone, abandoned them completely, distanced themselves from them. I can't leave them alone. Whatever my life, I say, look, when I went to Afghanistan, I went in intention to fight and kill myself. God saved me. So God gave me this life because, hey, Allah has chose a different path for me, actually. If he wanted, I could have been killed in Afghanistan, could have been killed in Kashmir. But he chose me to get out from this hell. I don't know why, but now I think why did he let me live more, let me live my life, because he has a different plan for me. I say, I cannot disassociate myself from Jewish community. I cannot disconnect my social media, and I cannot stop supporting Israel's war against these barbaric Nazis and these I can't say with human, I don't have any words for Hamas in this case. Even humans have some rules, some regulations. They can't come to bite you, actually. Do you understand? They're barbaric cult. I can't. So I'm here where I was 10 years ago. So it's obviously it's my proud moment to stand with my people, and because it's not the Zionists, because they are fighting for their survival. Actually, they are fighting for peace. They are fighting for live in harmony. That's all there. Is it their fault? Tom, we have in Middle East 22 countries we Muslims have. All around the world, we have nearly 50 countries. 50 countries. You have only one country. And we don't want to live in your own country. What a shame. What type of religion we are? We call ourselves a peaceful Muslim, that we always be a coexistence with the people of book. You don't name it. We don't even let the people of book in peace and harmony in one land which is more than 2 million people are already Muslim inhabitants in Israel. They're living side by side. Israel has provided all basic human, political, and religious rights exercising across in Israel. For more. I think Muslims in their head, the religious rights, Israeli Muslims have more religious rights than us in Britain. Because in Britain, we run our mosques through charities, donations. Imams, we pay the imams from our pockets. But Israel, these all mosques are run by the state. Imams are paid by the state of Israel, a Jewish state, an Israeli state. Why they pay them? That you can exercise your freedom of religion, which is your basic right. And we don't want even them to practice their religion in their compound. What a shame, and what kind of we call peaceful Muslims, actually. We can't. And actually, I always tell my Muslim community, my people, that I'm open to discuss with you. The only one condition, you don't use violence against me. Come and we have a fruitful discussion. I have never left Islam. Zionism never allow anybody to leave their religion to come to us. Zionism is ideology, is a vision. You accept Israel's Jewish right in the Holy Land, and Zionism concept is came from Islam. It came from Quran. How can we deny? How can we deny this is the right of exit? Is Allah said in the Quran? How can we deny this? How cannot be? Do you understand? But political Islam is completely different Islam. Different Islam. And the problem is, let me tell you one thing. You Israelis have faced a lot of, you have faced Islam less and political Islam a lot, actually, unfortunately. You are the victim of a religious ideology which called Islam, but it's actually political Islam. We have to distinguish between these both domains. Otherwise, we cannot counter the narratives. We cannot isolate an Islamist community from Muslim community. Islam is from Muslim community. If we do not distinguish between both, if we cannot distinguish between both ideologies, it's completely different home.
Please help us to distinguish between those two terms, because I think that not everyone in the crowd understands the distinction that you're doing between Muslim and Islamic.
Look, Muslim is the person who followed the principle of Islam. And then I'm not supporting Islam, I'm talking about supporting a religion. I mean, if you look at the religion, if you forget about Islam, you can start reading Gita, which is a Hindu religious book. You would not find anything killings or any violence in that. If you open in Torah, if you open the Bible, and if in the Quran, it's not indiscriminately killing for anybody. Do you understand? Yes, in every book there are some historical chapter, medieval stories, which are dedicated to specifically the environment which we call a war environment, military environment, armed environment. And these verses are specifically dedicated to such type of environment. We cannot apply these texts, religious texts, in the general life and against general community. But Islamists are actually, they are using, this is a difference between Islamic warfare and Islamist warfare. Because Islamic warfare is like a state war. And when a state runs the war, there are some ethics, some protocols to follow it. Like, for example, if I can say the IDF is following the protocol and ethics of war, which are actually given state to them to fight. And actually what IDF doing in Arabic concept, In Islamic concept, they are conducting jihad in Gaza, because jihad is a war domain actually. Islamic or war is a warfare conducted by a state, and those state actors, which are armed forces, security officials, they are the one who are participate in state warfare, which sometimes we refer as conventional warfare. Now, in Islamic warfare, there are some rules, and rules are like you only conduct which you have to implement a just cause, and you have to apply proportionality. You have to apply the rule of the protection of non-combatants. You have to apply the prohibition of treachery and the cruelty, human treatment of prisoners, hostages. Human treatment of prisoners is a very, very a big chapter in Islam for the treatment of prisoners, and as well as a non-aggression, do not cross a limit, and as well as focus on ethical conduct. Now, if you look at that deeply in Islamic warfare, we have some conditions for state actors. I'm going to tell you a few of them, which are mentioned in Islamic warfare. Do not target marketplaces, shopping centers. Don't destroy agricultural lands. Don't kill women. Don't kill children. Don't kill animals for any reason. Don't burn the trees. Do not destroy religious places. Do not destroy graveyards. Don't mutilate body. Only fight with those who fight against you, which means it's a defensive mode. Never use offensive mode. And at the end, do not transgress the limits, which means there are two meanings. If if some person have attacked and killed you two people, and then your attack should not be the exaggerate their attack limit. Do you understand? And there is Islamic, if you are war with opposite forces of an opponent country and state, if they seek a peace, then straight away obtain the peace efforts. And if you have a make a peace agreement, peace treaty, ceasefire, do not break it. Now, these are the Islamic principles, principle of Islamic warfare principles. Now, if we look at the Islamist warfare, we have seen completely opposite principles, which they have some type of justifications. They have a wrong interpretation of jihad. They have wrong, is violent ideology. They are targeting indiscriminately civilians, marketplaces, bomb blasting, suicide bombing, religious places. And they will be a specific group of movement which we call a non-state actors. Non-state actors are Islamist part of the Islamist warfare, not Islamic, because in Islamic warriors, they are actually the legitimate army of the state. And these are the different rules and perspective in between Islamic warfare and Islamist warfare. And people need to understand that majority of the people, they do not adhere the Islamist principles of the warfare in a Muslim world. Actually, the hate against Jews on Israelis is merely a political domain, but Islamists have used a religious tool to divert this conflict, divert this hate into the religious domain, just in order to justify their actions, legitimate their actions, that whatever the actions they are taking against Jewish people in the world, against Israelis, okay, they are actually under the commandment of God. Now, obviously, this is a long topic about what are the Quranic principles about Jews. We will talk in a different in a question about that, and hopefully, in a short time, I have explained, not in a brief but in short form, what is the difference between Islamic warfare and Islamist warfare.
Okay, so first of all, if the crowd have questions, you can raise your hand or write them in the chat and I will read them if you prefer. I would like to ask you, before we go into some details, about this very sad and horrific story you told us about the repercussions of you declaring yourself as a Zionist amongst your family, friends, etc. Have you also received, I'm guessing that it wasn't the majority, but have you also received any at all positive or neutral reactions from the Muslim side? Or it was 100% against you?
No, there are obviously people, they are connected with me and who supports my stand, who supports my ideology. And fortunately, surprisingly, I can use this right word, they are people from Pakistan.
But still,
living in Pakistan,
Mhm.
never met Jews, never met an Israeli, and didn't travel to Israel. But when they read my interviews, my YouTube videos, when I used to start before October 7, I used to start my YouTube channel in Urdu language to educate my Pakistani community. And there are loads, I think 10, 12 videos. And then something happened long ago then. And lots of people, they contact me and they said, we understand your stand. Understand we really understand the information you have provided. And I've discussed all aspects of IDF aspects, Zionism aspects, Israeli perspective, Jewish perspective, Islamism, this and that. And I compared IDF action with Pakistan action against terrorism. And I say, if the Pakistan action against terrorism, exactly the same one, are legitimately acceptable, how comes the IDF actions exactly the same against same type of ideology and terrorist Islamist? How can that be wrong? And I have discussed about what is the difference between resistance and terrorism. What is the difference between guerrilla warfare and jihadism? So people, surprisingly, I can say to you, Tom, if you honestly, if you spend time with Pakistanis, educated people, sane people, people of understanding, if you spend time to discuss with them, I'm pretty much sure that they will understand your perspective. But unfortunately, those Pakistani who born and bred in West, they are completely opposite. They close the door because Western Islam is completely or somehow different than the Islam in Pakistan. Actually, Western Islam was introduced by Muslim Brotherhood in 1960s. Majority of the charity organization, they owned by either directly related with Muslim Brotherhood or indirectly affiliated with Muslim Brotherhood. And the Islam deliberately has been introduced in the Western world, including Canada and Australia, New Zealand, America, and European countries, as well as the United Kingdom. Deliberately introduced this type of Islam in the Western. But in the East, specifically in Pakistan, it was the country is a Muslim country. There's nothing to introduce anything. There was just introduced Islamic extremism ideology into there, but you can't find Pakistani majority of Islam possess extremist views. People are listening. Honestly, people are still visiting Israel from Pakistan. The last month, 10 people visited. I don't want to disclose much information. We are not allowed to, but people are actually visiting from. But you can't find visiting people from Britain. They are visiting to go to Al-Aqsa, but not visit like a tour of Israeli, this and that. No, because they are very hardcore Islamists than the Pakistanis. So Pakistan, you still have hope. I still have hope. Because when I remember, let me tell you, when I remember 2016, when I came to first time in Israel, 16 or 17, and I delivered my speech in ICT, Herzliya. And there were conference was that. And at that time, I said to them, announced it to the public, to the audience, that I have evidence that when I'm speaking to you, I have nearly 100 Zionists in Pakistan right at the time. They are there and supporting your right to exist. I did in 2 to 3 weeks that work, and I had a list of their joining my organization actually. So if we can work with people over there, we will get a great news. We will get a significant amount of the people who will support Israel's right to exist actually. And I'm pretty sure, 100% sure, that you will get more people from Pakistan, within Pakistan, in support you than people in Britain. And let me add one thing in the top on that. Pakistan has never declared Israel as an enemy. Remember that officially, government state. Now, Iran did, Pakistan not. Pakistan's stand is exactly the same state like Saudi Arabia. They say, okay, Israel accept Palestinian statehood. They give them statehood. We have no problem with Israel. So they have a condition. But it's not like Iran, that they say, no, Israel is our enemy and we wish destruction of Israel. That closes. This concept is not the state of Pakistan concept at all. And I have already disclosed a lot of information in my book and in my interviews that in previously Pakistan state and Israel state have collaborated together and on a very different occasions, and IDF and military intelligence IDFs and Mossad and ISI, they have collaborated together in various operations together in the one region. So and
Pakistani security service.
Say again. Sorry.
With Pakistani security service.
Pakistani ISI, Pakistan intelligence agencies, and Israel intelligence collaborate together. Even after Mumbai attacks, 2008 happened, Mumbai attack by LET, and after that, within a year after that, Pakistan ISI got information that Islamist jihadist terrorists in India, they are planning to target Israeli embassy and Israeli people assets in Delhi, in India. And Pakistan intelligence agency straight away sent message to Mossad, contacted, and they Mossad give all the details share with their intel to the Israeli intel. And straight away, state of Israel has issued a warning for Israelis not to travel to India for certain reason. And the people who were plotting the terrorist act against Israel, they were arrested successfully. And Mossad chief at that time sent a letter to ISI intelligence agency that specifically thanks that because of your intel, several Israeli citizens' life has been saved. So it's a great achievement. Pakistan state is not an enemy of Israel, not at all. They just don't want to jump into that because religious atmosphere is very hostile against Israel in Pakistan. Okay, if they are taking any action, the Islamists will take over Pakistan. They will the government. So because they Islamist and parties are more powerful in strength and they have a more street power in Pakistan. So state is specific. When I say Pakistan state, I'm talking about military establishment. But Pakistan run by military establishment, not a civilian government. Civilian government is only the show off in the front. So military establishment is reluctant to not go openly, directly collaborate with Israel. And Benazir Bhutto, Prime Minister, assassinated in Pakistan, and when she was in exile and she planned to come to Pakistan, and at that time was a President Musharraf. And America said, yes, you can go. And she didn't want to go in Pakistan because of fear of life. She said, only one country give me guarantee of my life, she said. Then she will go to Pakistan. They ask who? They say Israel. So Benazir Bhutto, this is a revelation I already disclosed. And Benazir Bhutto had a meeting with CIA officials and Mossad officials in Washington, and both have given her guarantee of their life. And after that, she traveled she finished her exile, self-exile, and she traveled back to Pakistan with the guarantee of Israeli intel officials. So can you believe it? Can you believe it?
I believe you, so I can believe it because I hear that you're saying it, and I know that you're a serious person.
I have evidence. I have declared all evidence in my book.
Of course, we know that the world is always more complex than it appears to be from our point of view, and there are always things going on between countries that are hidden from sight.
Yeah, of course.
But in those lectures, we always try to learn in general, but also specifically about the efforts for normalization and dialogue in the Middle East, or between the Muslim world and the Jewish world. So I would like to take the time and repeat a few points of your introduction because I think it's extremely important. So first of all, you identified yourself as a jihadist. You were an armed jihadist in Pakistan and Afghanistan, anti-Semite. I would say, in my words, you can accept them or not. You were incited and indoctrinated against Judaism, against probably Zionism, the West, etc. But you've changed. Now, the reason I'm specifying it is because I think it's the common opinion in Israel, in the West, that once someone is dubbed jihadist, it's a lost cause. We don't know how to interact with him. We don't know how to change his mind. There's only military solution. But you prove otherwise. So do you think that your story can be a key to something larger, to a bigger phenomena, to have like some sort of formula to de-radicalize jihadists, or is it your unique, and I'm not suggesting otherwise because you have a unique personality, is it your unique personality and courage and willingness to look at the other side and to humanize the other side that is a rare thing that done it for you, and it's something as something very rare that we cannot duplicate? What's your stand about it?
Oh, they're very great questions. Let me tell you one thing. First of all, never close a door or never lose a hope. Okay, because you never know the mindset of the Islamist. Okay, there are different layers in their mind actually. Low level of Islamist mindset, medium level Islam mindset, extreme level Islam mindset. Now, those who are extreme level Islamic mindset, you spend all entire life to convince them they are not going to convince themselves. Do you understand? And these type of people are mentioned in Old Testament, in Quran, everywhere. That those people are not going to be a peaceful citizen. They are completely deteriorated people. So you cannot change that. But you don't know which person is actually low level of mindset, extremist, and medium or not, until you get a conversation with them. Do you understand that? Okay. Now the thing is this: Islamist ideology, it comes from the religion. Actually, it's a religious belief which have been modified, which have been exploited, which have been misused, which have been misinterpreted, and which have been manipulated in order to induce, in order to use grievance of the individual to change their mindset. Now, every culture of terrorism is a different in every region. Like Islamists in Pakistan have a different grievances and reasonings than the Islamists in Syria, or the Islamists in Western countries have a different narratives to being drawn into the Islamism than the people in Israel.
Can you give an example?
For example, the Pakistani people of Islam's narratives or grievances are completely different than the Hamas, because our narrative ideology is the same. The domain of Islamism is completely same, right? But the grievances are completely different. The culture of terrorism is completely different, because our target is not the state of Israel. Our target is India, was India. Do you understand? Our targets were not Jews. Our target was Hindus. However, we possess a same ideology to hate Jews. So ideological perspective, ideological layers, ideological narratives are same, but grievances, target are completely different. Do you understand?
Yes.
The person who is in Islamist in Britain, for example, or in the US, his grievance is completely different. He's not isolated person. He is not under suffering in poverty. He is not have any, not, I mean, with the racism exists in our society. Obviously, discrimination exists, but not in the discrimination that he's completely isolated from the society or the system. It's not. But his grievance is implementing Sharia law in Great Britain. His reason is Muslim Ummah is going to suffering in Iraq, Syria, Palestine, in Kashmir, Afghanistan, Chechnya, and so. Right? So his grievance is to establish a worldwide caliphate. Do you understand? However, the people living in Palestinian area or in Gaza, their grievances are completely different against Israel, against Israelis, against the Jews. You understand? So domains are different, targets are different, but actually ideology is exactly the same. Now, when you approach some, and in that things, we have to apply counter ideological factor tools, actually counter ideological narratives, counter terrorism, again, is completely different in different countries, in different regions. And obviously, you cannot counter their narrative unless you have to state-wise implement a very tough rules. And you have to introduce a very right tool to indoctrinate, rehabilitate these Islamists. Let me tell you, for example, in United Kingdom have introduced from first 2003, then specifically 2005, after 7/7 bombing in underground, they introduced a prevent strategy. Now, prevent strategies was comprised with to assess their ideological factors, as well as their psychological factors, their social factors, their grievances, and their surrounding impacts on their mindset. However, the prevent strategy has completely failed for the last 2 decades. Islam is yes, deterrence of terrorism have been completely lowered because it's the intel and military actions, intel and security forces action to counterfoil the terrorism have been successfully implemented and successfully lowered these. You will not hear any Islamist suicide bombing in Britain anymore. But ideological, to counter the ideological roots have been failed actually, because the one specific tool was missing in prevent. And this is why ideological narratives could not be changed. Now, 2 incidents happened: London Bridge attack and Westminster attacks. These 2 incidents, 2 individual Islamists, they carried out these attacks. And if you look at these, both individuals were recently released from prison, and they went through all rehabilitation process, and the expert in the rehabilitation process who have run the process, they have given green tick that these people have completely rehabilitated. But weeks after, I'm not talking months, I'm not talking years, weeks after they carried out 2 barbaric acts of terrorism, one in the London Bridge and other in the Westminster, outside Parliament. Now the question is, what was the missing point? Missing point was Islamic ideology. Missing point was they didn't undergone the Islamic theological process actually. Because, for example, I'm a jihadist. I believe that Allah has commanded me to kill Jews. For example, God forbid. Now you can change my psychological, work on my psychology factor. You can work on my grievances. You can work on my social factor. Do you understand? You can work on my, whatever the other factors I have. You can work on it, no problem.
I have to work on your theology.
But if you did not counter my ideological factor, which is the main cause to commit an act of terrorism, because I'm committing act of terrorism in the name of Allah, to fulfill the God's mission, to kill innocent people. So if this specifically has been ignored, actually the main part of rehabilitation has been completely ignored. However, this exactly the same Islamic theological process has been applied in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Saudi Arabia, and thousand, if not hundreds, people have been completely rehabilitated, and they were completely, entirely integrated into the peaceful, normal life within people.
By the interpretation of Quran?
Yes, because they have been induced a completely opposite and a wrong interpretation of Islamic text. And when I call Islamic text, what I can call is Quran, Hadith, Judaism, which you call fiqh, and history as well. So everything called is Islamic text. So they gone through with scholars, Now this is a missing point. I was in come across with in a mosque. I come across before October 7, come across with imam with imam with a big beard like me, this and that, and I knew him because he doesn't know me, because he knows he's a side like a normal Muslim. Muslim means normal attendee in a mosque, and we have a good salam alaikum with each other. Okay, and I asked him once, what is your job, profession? And he said he is imam in prison service. So, and when I asked him, what is your core objective to go into prison? He said, my job and objective are 2 different. I said, okay, what is your goal? He said, what is your professional goal and objective completely different. I said, what is my professional goal is to go and lead a prayer, salah, in mosque every day, and Friday sermon, and teach them Quran, this and that's it. And what is your what is core goals, what are your objectives, what you achieve, what your intention is. He said, actually, my object is to convert as many people as possible into Islam. I say, my goodness, can you believe it? So he was going over there. So the British government hired his services to lead a salah prayer, lead a prayer of Muslim prisoners, because obviously under democracy they have a right to pray behind imam. You understand? But his intention was to convert as many inmates into Islam, actually. Now, this is political Islam, actually. This is political Islam. And a state has failed to recognize, identifies these core issues. And this is why in the West, we are seeing for years that whenever a war happened between Israel and Hamas, 100,000 people, nearly 1 million march we have seen as well, experienced in the street against chanting against Israel, and a state say is their freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of movement. Well, these freedoms have been completely compromised, and they have taken advantage of these Islamists, and we are entirely suffering, specifically the English community, so the Western community is suffering from their, the consequences. But they cannot compromise with democracy and human rights articles, European Union's Geneva Convention article, Geneva Convention 1952, all article 1 to 11 to 13. They can't compromise. If you compromise, then Islam is really going to be in its strength soon, day by day. And other minority communities, specifically the Jews, they are suffering because the mistakes carried out by the state, actually, Western states.
So let me get this straight, and I'll say it in my words, in a very business startup oriented language, okay? And let's see if we're on the same page over here, okay? So what you're actually saying in my language is that you're an entrepreneur, okay? And you have a new startup, let's call it a startup for meanwhile, that is based on an Islamic theology of counterterrorism, and your startup is expected to take people, to basically to recover jihadists who were addicted to fundamentalism, and to reprogram them into non-hostile, non-intimidating members of society by theological explanation. Basically, that's your plan, if I put it in a very rough terms.
Indeed, Tom. Let me tell you one thing. Okay, let me read something for the audience, and you will actually understand what I'm trying to say. Okay. Okay. I'm quoting one paragraph, one small paragraph, is a statement of Hassan al-Banna, as head of the Muslim Brotherhood, Egypt. Now, what he's saying, you will understand the concept of Islamism specifically in Western world as well as specifically in Israel. Now, what he's saying those people who think that these teaching of Islams are concerned only with the spiritual and rituals aspects are mistaken in this belief. So those people, like you think that, according to him, that those people who think Islam is only ibadah, prayers, religious rituals, spiritual aspects, are mistaken. Now, what he's saying, what Islam is, according to him, he said, because Islam is a faith, a ritual, a nation, hakmiya, state, ruling, sharia, nationality, identity. Remember this, when the Islam Muslims in the West, oh, we are first Muslim, not British. Our identity is Islam as Muslims, not British. That's one. Nationality, religion, and a state, rule, spirit, deeds, holy text, and sword, arms, ammunition. Now, if you look at this concept, you will see that Hassan al-Banna actually introduced in the world a different concept of 10 commandments of Islamism. 10 commandments of Islamism. Now, what are the 10 commandments in the statement? Faith, ritual, nation, nationality, religion, state, spirit, deed, holy text, and sword. Now, these are the 10 commandments of Islamism which were introduced by Hassan al-Banna. Now, this is actually the concept of every single Islamist living anywhere in the world. Now, let's talk about Muslims living in Western world or even living in Israel. Okay, Islamist are ideological. As I mentioned before, ideological factors are exactly the same, which are 10 commandments of Islamism. Now, even you, Israeli expert, have written a lot of books and spoken in a lot of events, events and conferences, and they have specifically talk about 2 domains. One is Darul Islam and Darul Harb, the land of Islam and the land of Kufr, which is English infidelity. But another Dar which is completely ignored by Muslim scholars, they don't want to talk about that.
Dar el
Say again.
Dar el Ahed.
Exactly. Darul Ahad, the house of agreement.
Exactly.
Now let's put this concept into the state of Israel. Okay, state of Israel, no doubt, is a Jewish state. Okay, it's not a Muslim state. Now people say, no, is that why Israel says a Jewish state? So what is that? Is a Muslim state? No, it's not. Is a Christian state? It's not. Is any communist state? It's not. Then you have a look at what are the percentage of the Jewish people living in there. Do you understand? And according to the percentage of the people, their belief, their ethnicity, their culture, their race, their language, it comprises the state's official status, which is as a Jewish state. Now, in a Jewish state, those people who are not Jewish, specifically Muslims, they are living in a Jewish state is a privilege, not ownership. Islamically, Muslims, by Quranic commandment, Muslims have no right to own this holy land. Do you understand? Because this holy land is given to the Jewish people by the God in Old Testament, in the New Testament, and in the Quran. There's nothing else. And you could not find, let me tell you, I'll come back to Darul Ahad. Let me tell you one thing. In Hadith, Prophet said, whoever conquer Constantinople, which is Istanbul, Turkey, he will go to paradise. The group, the army unit, whoever fight and conquer Istanbul, Constantinople, Turkey, the group entire unit will go to paradise without accountability. Okay, understand? No problem. Now, in entire 10 books of hadith, you cannot find any single hadith of Prophet that says whoever Muslim conquer the holy land of Israel, where Israel is, he will go to paradise. No. And there is no single hadith in Islamic text which Prophet Muhammad said that, "Oh Muslims, this land belongs to you, and go and conquer the land." You cannot find. Yes, when the second caliph of Islam, Omar, when he conquered the Holy Land, the land was conquered. Actually, it was a continuity of conquerings. Do you understand? It's not a specific event, this land is mine. It's Muslims. He went, conquered Syria, Yemen, Iraq. Then in the middle, it became a Holy Land, Israel. He conquered Jerusalem. Then he went further. And this was specifically when the Jewish rabbi said, or Amir al-Muslimin, or the caliph of Muslim caliph, this is a place you can pray here. He said, no, 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 this place is yours. Remember this historical word. The Omar said, this place is yours, not mine. If I pray here, tomorrow Muslim will build a mosque over it, on your prayer area. So he prayed outside of the Jewish area, which is now called Masjid Umar, Mosque of Umar over there in Jerusalem. So we have evidence from a historical perspective, from Quran, from Hadith, that this land is holy land to everyone. Yes, everyone believes that. And this land is actually owned by the Jewish people, the people of Moses, the people who believe in Torah, Old Testament. They are the people. And those people who are living in the land out of the Jewish Jewish people, they have a privilege to live there, not ownership. And in Islamically, this says that if, for example, you have conquered the land, but remember, you are not a rightful owner of this land. You so consider this so long you are I can't use occupy. You administrated the Holy Land as a ruler. Consider this as amana, Arabic, which is trust. So when the rightful owners come, you have to hand over this trust to them. So hand over this Holy Land to the rightful owners. Who are the rightful owners? It's the Jews. Now, those Muslims who are living in Israel, whether they are Palestinians in Gaza, they are Palestinian in a Palestine area, or those who are Israeli Arabs, they are actually living under the Darul Ahad, which is called Darul Muhaida. The Darul Muhaida means they have an agreement to live in the Holy Land indefinite periods, given by the Jewish state of Israel under certain conditions. Now, what are the conditions? You do not rebel against a state. You do not take any type of arms against a state. You do not kill any person who belongs to the state, like a Jewish people. You do not harm them. You have to obey the rules, regulation, laws of the state. You have a sanctuary in the state, protection by the state under all the rules, conditions you have to follow as a peaceful resident, of the state. Now, but the thing is, the state has given the nationality, Israeli passport. Do you understand? Because Israel went beyond their religious commandment to give non-owners the ownership. They went beyond a commandment of God, and they're given the ownership to the people who are not owners, the ownership. And still Muslims are in grief that the land is not a Jewish land. What are they talking about? If they're not there, they have not historical evidence. They have not political facts. They have not a religious justification to own this land. And they call occupation. How can occupation? People come back, rightful owners came back from the exile. Because this is a Quran seat. That when the right time will come, O Jewish, I will bring you from every corner of the world to the holy land which belong to you. You are the rightful owner of this state. Occupiers, Islam has denounced this word towards the Jewish occupiers, colonizers, occupiers. It's not. People have to understand that every single Muslim living in the Western world, every single Muslim living in Israel the state is under the Darul Muhaida. Because now they say this is the Darul Kufr. Now they don't understand what the Darul Kufr means. If their right of the practice of religion is completely abhorred, their right to practice their Islamic, continue their Islamic identity, like Islamic rituals, paying zakah, charity, fasting, mosque, madrasa, reading Quran, sermons, propagation outside, inside the house, dawah, which you call. When the state prohibit you everything, then you can consider, yes, it's now the Darul Kufr. And even it is a Darul Kufr, then what is the next hukum? What is the next commandment? Do you take arm to rebel against Darul Kufr? No. The Islam said, if you are in any state which has prohibited your religious freedom, leave, migrate in peace to the land where you can find a peace at least. This is why the Prophet, when the people were persecuted by the pagans, Muhammad, Prophet, he sent the group first migration to Ethiopia, Abash, and the Ethiopia was at the time was run by the Christian. When they felt peace over there, and they say, okay, now follow the rules, regulations of that country. The thing is that Islamists in UK, they're completely ignorant. They don't know, they don't understand what Islam is. They don't understand what Islamism is actually. What are the conditions they want to live in when every single person Muslim who is chanting that Sharia for West, Sharia for UK, Sharia for US, actually they are blasphemous. They are going against the commandment, rules, and regulation of the Allah has assigned in Islam, assigned in the Quran. They are completely assigned. There are, if it's a Darul, they say Darul Kufr. This is not Darul Kufr. We have 1,000 of mosques. We have, and they admit they have a more freedom in Britain than Middle East, then Asian country, Pakistan. People have a more freedom in Israel, Muslims, than in Palestine, than in Gaza, than in Syria, than in Iraq, than in Yemen. Do you understand? So my friend, these are the things Muslims need to, and how would need to, people need to, the type of people who have such, I'm not a scholar, I'm a very student of deen, okay? I'm a student of religion. And I always be a student, okay? I think the scholars, they need to come forward to speak. But the thing is this, majority of the, it's scholars, or I can say, can't word speaks a majority, I can, but quite, vast amount of quantity of Muslims, scholars, they are not willing to educate people about these. Because when I go to mosque, mostly I hear charity, donation, ikhlas, goodness, or being a good Muslim, this and that. Teach them being a good citizen of this country. Teach them being a good human. Do you understand? Good neighbor. Do you understand? Teach them what are their actually rules, limits being living in this country. Need to talk people. The problem is there. Now let me tell you the approach of Islamist cleric and the Muslim imams towards a general Muslim public. Muslim imam, unfortunately, he does not lower his status to the ordinary Muslims. He is in their domain of influence on dominance. I'm an imam, I'm a sheikh, I have a knowledge. I do not come to the level of the ordinary person. And this is why people do not much learn from it. But Islamist cleric who are a radical killer. He has a very specific he has a specific personality. He has a specific qualities actually. He bring himself into the level of the ordinary Muslim, and he can deal with their grievance because his intention is to use his grievances and bring him into the Islamist domain. So he has to bring himself to the level of the person and sit with them as like a friend and talk. And these people, Islam in Western people, they do not share their grievance with their parents. They don't share grievances with their school teachers. They either share with grievances with their like-minded friends, or if they are completely more frustrated, isolated, they have been approached with Islamists, clerics, and they can trust on them. They build up their trust, and they can share their grievances. And once they share the grievances, finish. They are very good expert to use individual. Look, the grievances is actually I can use is disease, is a mental disease, is the person who is isolated, who is under PTSD, he's under anxiety, some type of, or under some type of problems, mental issues. He's actually a victim. We should not use them as a prime tool for that. And let me give you one example. I was serving in a police department, and before police department, I was working as a estate agent in London. And my office, next to my office, there was a shop, Kentucky chicken fried shop, owned by a Pakistani person. He has only one son, and the son was mentally, he was okay. He was going to college, but he was mentally a little bit disturbed. He was a little bit vulnerable person. Do you understand? He's quiet. His personality was completely different. He don't talk much, and he's that type of person he was. Anyway, when I joined the police, I moved my house. I gone in different area, this and that. After a few years, 5-6 years, I came to the area again, and I went to another different chicken shop. I want to buy some dinner or lunch sometime in the evening time. I was passing by, and his father, he saw me. He suddenly came in front of me and he hugged me. And soon he hugged me. He started crying, burst his tears, crying. I said, Uncle, what happened actually? Why you're crying? And he said, my son has been killed. I was shocked. He was only one son. Oh, what happened? Where he's been killed? He said he was killed in Syria, fighting with, he joined ISIS. I said, your son was mental vulnerable. How he joined? He said, yes, people use his mental vulnerability. And German Islamist jihadists, they got him married with a German lady, Islamist lady, got him married, recruited him through the marriage. Okay, and they sent him to Syria. He got killed, and now the same woman, he was married with another person, recruit, send him Syria. This was the tool of is love jihad. So this is what I'm trying to say. These Islamists use the vulnerability, grievances, and this is how recruit the people.
Unbelievable. But we should also repeat the fact that the claims or the narrative from Quran, from Islam, can lead either to this way, to this radical way, or what we talked about before a few minutes ago, to the way of Dar al-Ahed, the land of treaty, that stands on very solid ground in Islamic arguments, that as long as Israel doesn't bother Muslims, or they have their freedom to practice their faith and to do dawah, to preach their Islamic faith, there shouldn't be any warfare, any Islamic warfare, unlike Islamist warfare. There shouldn't be any warfare against Israel. So thank you for explaining that, because I think that to most Israelis, we have here a surprise after surprise after surprise, starting from the concept that someone who was radical can be talked in moderation, and until this point that finds, I would say, a formula of coexistence with Islam, okay? And I would like to ask you, because we have a very sensitive timing for this meeting. We are in the midst of a war between Pakistan and India. And I would like to ask you, because I know that most Israelis and most Westerners don't have the right background to understand this war and where it's at now and where is it going, perhaps. So first of all, I would like to ask you, is it a religious war, the way you see it, between Pakistan and India? And if not, then what's your perspective on it?
I was 3-4 days completely occupied, focusing, analyzing, assessing this war very closely. I was contact in Indian military people as well as Pakistan military officials and media people, personality, experts on both countries. And I was completely 3-4 days until ceasefire happened. I was completely occupied. And what I have assessed, I have actually written a long article which is going to be published soon, and I will share with everywhere you can read what actually happened. This is not actually a religious war. Forget about that. It's not a religious war. Okay. This was actually from non-conventional to the conventional warfare. Okay. Now, both sides of people are very emotional type of people. Do you understand? Either they don't want to accept their mistakes in warfare. They don't admit their defeat wherever they happened. Okay, and they blame each other. This is the type of Indian and Pakistani mentality is actually. Okay, in the war, actually, they don't understand the perspective of war. Actually, the background reasoning of the war. I'm not using a very sensitive information in here in open public conversation meeting. But let me tell you one thing. China has never fought any convention warfare, specifically the modern warfare. Okay, and the Chinese have built up a new warfare technologies and military equipment, defense equipment that were not actually tested yet. And the war's core reason was to test these actually these Chinese equipments, weaponries, and which are, what I'm saying, it are documented in is coming now international media as well. Okay, the military experts, they have assessed the reasons behind that. Let me tell you one thing. Pakistan is the country which have under multi billions debt. Their economy is in fact completely shattered. And in the last few years before this current chief of army staff, the chief of army staff, the previous one before that, before he left his tenure, he said that the Pakistan army have not even the enough fuel in tanks to wage the war against India. Now, suddenly, They got everything. They got ammunition. They got energy. Do you understand? And even people say ceasefire, America ceasefire. He said, no, I don't want ceasefire. I want attacks. How did they get this energy? How did they get suddenly such weapons? They can't have a fuel tank. Their economy is completely shattered. They can't feed people enough. They don't have enough salaries to pay their employees. They don't have even money to pay the interest of their debts. Suddenly, waging war is a costly, my friend. It's called billions of dollars. You experience how many billions of dollars you have lost in the war against Hamas. So war is, specifically the modern war is phenomenal costly. And now they are started war. Actually, there were 2-3 reasons. China have filled Pakistan with all ammunitions against India. Because China is the old river of India. China has different goals. Number one, he wants to defeat Indian defense system so that his defense system go boost up. He wanted to destroy the credibility, want to limit the credibility of French Rafale air jets, which billions of deal India bought it. India bought from Russia S-400 air defense system, which America didn't like it. America sent a very strong message to India in 2022 that do not acquire S-400 air defense system from Russia. India completely refused, rejected US warning. Now the core, I'm not disclosing much information, but what I'm saying, S-400 defense system, the core ambition behind this war was to completely destroy S-400 defense system by intercepting Pakistani planes inside Indian airspace, and to destroy French Rafale air jets. And these both goals have been achieved by Pakistan. Now, soon Pakistan, very first night when India sent missiles to Pakistan's terrorist camps, which successfully destroyed. Fantastic. But that time, more than 120 airplanes, both sides engaged for more than 1 hour in sky, in space. And that was Air Force historical warfare in the sky, the 125 airplane jets fighting each other under their space for 1 hour against each other. They break the record. And that was actually, China has established command and control system in Islamabad. And they were actually not monitoring. They were actually who was administrating this warfare. Because Pakistan doesn't have that much capability to go and fight and defeat, not only fight, to defeat India's 10 times or powerful country. But China has capability, 100%. China has jammed Rafale system through the cyber cyber security measurements they used, jammed the Rafale system, and then F-13, F-17 targeted missile and down Rafale plane. Soon they downed the Rafale plane, and the information went into the international community. And then if you look at the shares of Rafale's company, it dropped 20%. Straight away. We are monitoring. And then S-400 was Russian air defense system was completely destroyed, failed, because missiles was intercepted landed in different places of course, Indian have successfully landed over there, but Pakistan is a weak player. So anything India drop, we expect this one. But when it's weak player conduct in successful attacks, that will be the main news. That will be the cost on the international level. So these system and soon these F-17 Thunder air jet of Chinese intercepted and completely destroyed the Rafale aircraft. Their shares went 40% on sky straight away. Chinese defense ministry. So China has successfully tested their weaponry in 4 or 5 days, and now their shares will go. And you will hear soon that in the Western countries, other neighboring countries will start ordering Chinese weaponry.
Amazing.
And not only this, the Chinese in India, in Pakistan. Okay, I use Chinese, not Pakistanis, because they were the one who was fighting the war. Chinese cyber system have intercepted as a recorded Rafale Indian pilots conversation inside their cockpit, and they released the Pakistani that here you go, and they said yes, down, we are going to down now.
That sounds.
So it's actually now, because the Western power, the power, US is a superpower, China is a superpower, Russia's power has been already shattered as side corners in Ukraine by the Western powers. Before was big Heim, big hoo-ha, oh Russia, now we can't fight. But because of Ukraine, Russia's thousands of soldiers gone, more than 40 generals completely eliminated, and even now Ukraine drones are attacking Moscow in capital, okay, in a couple of in a regular on the daily regular basis. Now, which was another superpower claimed to be a superpower? India. And China didn't want the India become on that level in the region. That will be the very low. So China didn't want, and this was 100% Chinese war. And soon they got a ceasefire. Pakistan got $1 billion aid from US instead of approved.
Amazing. No, we got a lot more than we bargained on this meeting. We thought we were going to be speaking about Islam and terrorism, and we went all the way up to China and the geopolitics. Before we end, I would like to ask you, because I think that on this series we're also trying to learn and to empower Israelis with knowledge that is not usually at hand. So if you were an Israeli that was committed to create de-radicalization and better relations with the Muslim side, and hopefully to duplicate the Noor Dahri effect, that people who were armed jihadists in Pakistan will become the most peaceful and truthful speaking people. What would you suggest to Israel? Just start talk to Pakistanis online, or something more concrete? What do you think Israelis should do, not inside their political system, but as individuals in the social media space or in the global arena, to create more understanding?
Tom, you are very much, you and other Israelis are very much aware of the information warfare, and which includes the disinformation and the misinformation, specifically against Israel. Okay, and you people are obviously the victim of this disinformation warfare. the fact is that you cannot win information warfare at all. Not yesterday, not today, not tomorrow. Because you have enemies are everywhere. If you didn't create, they consider you enemy. Do you understand? In every community, in every religion, and especially in every countries, every political domain, leftist, far rightist, Islamists. Do you understand? And so the thing is, this is information warfare. Pakistanis, obviously, this October 7th, this attack, I can completely understand, admit that I have lost a lot of supporter of Israel because of the information and disinformation warfare. Because I could not reach to them to educate them. There's a reason, because I'm alone. I don't have any support. I don't have a time to educate my community. Do you understand? Now, the state or organizations, their role is to gather those people, Muslims, all around the world who support Israel in under the one umbrella, and give them the task. Egyptian supporters, they have given task to educate Egyptian people in your own domain. Pakistani, they should hire my services, for example, to talk to them in Urdu language, with the language, the culture they understand. Do you understand? And that Israelis are very lack of this capability. Do you understand? They have a very weak approach. Honestly, look, let me tell you honestly, every person have a qualities and disqualities, weaknesses, and obviously strength. The weaknesses is that they should have to, this is the right time, they should have collect their supporters, specifically the Muslim supporters. Don't isolate them. Don't let them alone to fight your war alone on their domain. Do you understand? You have to support it. You have to, I'm coming to the point which you said individually, but let me say as organization and state level, actually. You actually, what I believe, that the organization or the specific state of Israel, they should have a conference, international conference. They should have invite all supporters of Muslim supporter of Israel all around the world under one conference and give them space to talk. And this message will be the very powerful message to the entire Muslim Ummah, that Indian Muslim, Pakistani Muslim, UK Muslim, African Muslim, Egyptian Muslim, Lebanese Muslim. I know the Lebanese, Iraqi, Syrian Muslim in the West living in there and support Israel. But they can't open it because they don't want, because they said, no, we don't have any support. We say Israel will not come us. The Jews will not support us. We will be the heads to suffer the consequences. The problem is, let me tell you, I have never said openly, let me tell you one thing. Honestly, is it true that state do not support Muslim Zionists at all? They have remained completely alone, dependent on their own security measurements. Many Muslims have messaged me after October 7th that we support Israel's right. I say, okay, do you have any courage to say openly? They say, no. Who will support us? Does Israel come support for us? No. So why we endanger our life to support them? And this is a big question, actually. Because these people have become a Zionist and accept their existence, at least they should have a supported. Supporters does not mean to reside them in Israel. Support them, that moral support, actually, the states. Do you understand? At least you can invite them in your conferences. Appreciate them, actually. That yes, you are doing incredible work. We Jews are supporting Israel because is our land. But you are living in your country and supporting us. This is a phenomenon. This is a completely different, extraordinary thing. But they, specifically after October 7, the Muslim supporter of Israel, they have been completely side corners. Do you understand?
Sure.
And I have raised these ones individually with everyone. Don't do that, because you cannot afford any single Muslim who can turn away from the support of Israel was previously supporting. Like I can say two people, very prominent supporter of Israel. I don't want to take a name in open one. In British, very well known in media, very well known in Israel, everywhere. They are writing articles now, or they are talking against Zionism. And they said, one of them is called a Muslim scholar, he always supported Israel. He said, political Zionism and political Islam, there is no difference between that. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Now the thing is this, okay, he changed his narrative by any means. And I raised questions among the people that these people are going away. Approach them, engage them in discussion. What are the reasons you have changed your narrative about Israel? Talk to them, bring them in. Yes, they didn't bother, they didn't care. If you don't care, then one by one, every person will leave who were previously supported, and it will be your loss, honestly. Do you understand? When the people say, "Oh, every Muslims are something like that," there's no. If they are someone who are supporting you, what have you done for them? They need a moral support, actually. Not only me, I have a huge support from you people, but then everyone. I care everyone who are living in the West and supporting Israel, right, but cannot openly say. They should have been at least called by the state, invite them, honor them, give them space to talk. Do you understand? Give them platform. These people, Bahraini people, Lebanese people, Iraqis people, Syrian people who are supporting activists living in exile in West, supporting you. Give them space. Give them platform. They can teach their audience in their own language, in their own understanding way. Do you understand? Because remember, you are Israel, you are Jews. You are considered as an enemy to the Muslims. They will not listen to whatever you say to them. Whatever evident facts you present, they will say, no, khalas, you are Zionist. Khalas, you're not. But when I will, for example, speak to them with facts from political perspective, historical perspective, and religious perspective, they will at least understand. If 10 people, 9 people reject my message, 1 person accept it, it means I achieved the goal. I change one generation's narrative, not one person. He will change his wife. They will change their children. When I speak to one person, I don't see as one, I see one generation. And I would say always really this, think when you approach, you talk about you are going to change generation. Do not don't be hopeless. If you believe, I know you believe that you are on the right side, right path. Don't get scared. Don't be afraid. Don't be hopeless. If you become hopeless or afraid or scared, you wouldn't have exist here. Look at your history of your persecution, and you know your history, isn't it? You don't have the great zulm, the cruelty over you, that you don't have your temple. Do you understand? Everyone has. Hindus have. We have. A Christian have. You don't have. It's not a big zulm and cruelty on you. Do you understand? You are the very, in the history of the human race, you are the very oppressed community. But why you are still alive? Because you showed your resilience, isn't it? To hope of survive, to hope to fight, to defend, fight to live, actually. Why? To survive. So don't be hopeless because of the Islamists, 100,000 Islamists in the streets. You were a bunch of the people, they were the entire, Roman Empire, Byzantine Empire, Syrian Empire is about these ones. These were Egyptian Empire, they were against you. You still survive. You still survive from the ruins of the Holocaust. You are still here. You are still powerful. You still have a land. Allah has give you land, power, strength. That time you didn't have anything. You have now everything. You should be more positive and hopeful. Come to approach. I received a lot of messages from British Jews. We are getting scared of, everyone hates us, these all Muslims. How can you are suggesting us to go and talk to us? Do you want you to throw us into the danger? This and that. I said, what are you talking about? Why you are so hopeless? Look at me. I'm living among Muslims. I'm walking. These Islamist leaders, Islamist radical leaders are living 15, 20 minute, 10-minute drive from my house. They know where I live. I didn't leave city. I didn't leave area. Look at me. You still have organizations like government organization under the anti-Semitic law. Some have a backup. I don't have any backup. I don't have any backup. Instead of can't say, if anything happens, instead of can't say, oh, one Jewish person has been attacked by Muslims. I know. It's a Muslim attack by the Muslims. I don't have any value. Do you understand? Still I'm stood firm. Still I stood firm and support openly with the state of Israel. I'm walking among them. That's the courage you need. That speak the people. Not every British is against you, my friend. Not every mosque. Maybe one mosque, even out of 100, one imam, one mosque is sympathizing to you. It's a great win. One by one. Just need a right for approach. Do you understand? And individual basis, that's what I'm saying. People, Pakistanis, yes, engage with Pakistanis. You are still engaging, obviously. People are coming in Pakistan, visiting, and they are all happy, very happy, because when they go back to their country, Pakistan, I connect with them and I ask them, how was your trip? How do you see? There's every person may say this, oh my God, we have never seen such a great nation. We have never seen such a blessed land. We have never seen their hospitality, the honor they gave us. Honestly, you are the people of principles. You have everything. You have a rich culture, rich, one of the oldest religion. You have bones. So approach to people. Don't get scared. Approach to people. Talk to them. Talk to them. They will be completely like the people will be like unresponsive. Say, no problem. It's fine. You already are considered as hateful people. What is the point if they hate you? Nothing. Do you understand? Approach. One person you change life, one generation change life. Simple as that. And I don't see you life saving doesn't from the dying to saving. Like in the Torah and the Quran said, one person saved one person life, you saved the entire humanity. And the saving does not, if you look at because God's commandment is not specific only the one reason. Do you understand? The term is a very, very wide. Saving one person from the darkness into the right direction, give them the right direction from the wrong direction. That's a saving their life as well. Do you understand? So, my friend, people are coming slowly. Yes, October 7 has temporary closed people's door. I say temporary. When this hostile situation will be melt down, okay, and then we type of people we will engage again, and hopefully when their emotions will be down, when we explain to them the situation, I believe in God. I believe they will understand, and that's why I'm writing a book. It's nearly going to be complete. And when any person have any about October 7, any objection, I will tell the Muslim, read my book, because I have covered every angle of October 7, from historical perspective and the military perspective, humanitarian perspective, Palestinian perspective. Every angle I have covered in my book, and nearly is nearly ready to can be published. And you will surprise what things I have covered in that. You will be surprised, honestly, in the book.
I'm looking forward, first of all. It was very exciting for me. First of all, I would like to say to the audience that this is basically the last chance to ask something, if you want. And I see that you're already getting all sorts of blessings in the chat. I was very moved by your story and by your hardships, and I think you're one of the bravest men that I ever met. I would like to thank you for the way that you've done, and for your courage, and for the inspiration that you give to other people to say the truth, to say your truth, even if the prices are high and unbearable. So thank you, Noor, for the bottom of my heart.
My honor, my friend. Much appreciate that.
And if you have anything else that you feel that you haven't said today and you feel like you should say, then this is basically where we wrap up everything. So any last message for our crowd?
Well, especially my last message to I've given the message to the Israeli audience, but now I'm giving the message to the Muslims that no any single Israeli consider you as enemy. Your religion is not be criticized by Israelis, or they don't consider, they are not enemy of Islam. Okay, they understand Islam. They understand your religion as Abrahamic religion. They consider you cousins. Okay, don't show violence to anyone, because Islam is not the religion of violence. But when Muslims show the violence, okay, it's automatically changed a world perspective that they are representing Islam, and the Islam is a religion of violence. Don't use that, because Islam is like as other Abrahamic religions is a message of understanding, is message for the people of understanding, and they believe in the Abrahamic religion, especially Islam. They believe in discussion, because the Prophet said, if you get any news, even the news come from the non-Muslim accurate news, you can accept it. And even in the Islam, Prophet said, don't spread misinformation, don't believe in disinformation. Okay, seek investigation, research, and then you can support the truth, whether truth goes against you or your community. This is Islam. This is a message of Prophet. Understand his Sunnah. Understand the Prophet, what he said. Then you will understand that the path you have chosen, violence. Yes, people have a different opinion about Israel, about Jews, and some have a political differences, some have a religious differences. Completely understand that both religions have a similarities and obviously differences. Why not we both communities sit together and talk about similarities and discuss about differences in a very beautiful manner, in the way to actually understand each other, their differences, their cultures, their similarities, because we are member of the same house of Abraham. We are not out of this house. We are living in the same family. We live in the same house. Quran is a reflection of Torah. Quran has asserted given the Torah is highest status in Islam. Quran has said is a religion, is a mother of religions, Judaism. And Prophet Muhammad has considered Moses says he's my brother. So we don't have any hostility. We don't have any enmity. We don't have any hate. It's a foreign to us. So sit together and talk about differences. If you have any grievances, talk to Jewish people. They are open. Their doors are open for you. Never, if there was closed, I will never be in their room. Honestly, I never be with them if they close if they haven't closing their door. I would not be in that situation, which I'm now. Their doors are always open, and they are looking at you as a cousins. Sit with them, talk to them. If you have any grievances, talk to them about Palestinians, about Gaza. Talk to them, and I'm 100% sure they will explain to you very well, because they don't hate Palestinians. They don't hate Muslims. They have 2 million Israeli Muslims living among them with full equal rights. They don't hate Palestinians. More than 300,000 Palestinians used to come before October 7 from Palestine area to work. Not Jews, single Jews were allowed in Palestine, but the Palestinians were allowed in Israel to work. More than 10,000 people in Gaza, which are run by the state, terror state, they were coming, giving permission and work permits to come to Israel. Even they know Hamas terrorists could be infiltrated among these people. Still, they have given their work permits. Why? To change their lifestyle, their bright future, which they can only get in Israel, with good quality of work and good quality of pay. But Hamas have ruined their efforts. So come talk to them. They are actually welcoming community, honestly. So Tom, thank you very much for providing me this such a great platform. So I can have a chance to openly discuss to the audience of Israeli audience, and as well as other audience who are watching live on this event.
I approve this message with all my heart. I think that we all should speak with each other. Noor, thank you so much for the light you brought over here, as your name is light, and the light that you bring to your community, and to the optimism that you bring to the relationship between Jews and Muslims. Thank you for your heart and your courage again. It was a pleasure having you, a great honor, and I hope it's not the last time. Again, we learned so much, and I hope that more people will be exposed to such wisdom and messages. I think it can change the world, one generation after the other.
That's true.
So thanks again.
No problem, Tom.
We will depart now as friends and brothers and descendants of Abraham in the spiritual way.
Indeed. Thank you very much. God bless you.